soft music for your listening pleasure.
We put our hearts together. Now we are one. I'm not afraid. If there's a cloud,
welcome.
If it should rain, we let it fall.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, bienvenue, welkomen. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the May MJBA monthly meetup here at Magical Butter Studios. Want to thank everyone for coming out here tonight. Please take your seats. We do have a good program for you. Want to remind everyone to watch their P's and Q's. We are being streamed live over the internets as we speak on ITV. We've got Darren Bruce out there. Excited to be here at the Magical Butter Studios. Okay. There we go. Welcome. My name is Dave Rhines. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Marijuana Business Association. I want to welcome you to Magical Butter Studios and the May meetup of the Washington group of marijuana entrepreneurs. We have a big meeting today. Some special guests. I hope that you've appreciated what Magical Butter folks have done. You can see that we've transformed the space. Each and every month that we come here, we get a little bit bigger and a little bit better. So we've decided to add a little class and elegance to our environment today. We've got some tablecloths and we have some booze. Turn your attention to the Magical Butter folks. And most importantly, our presenting sponsor tonight, Forever Green Indoors. So we first met Kathleen Sullivan and the folks at Forever Green Indoors at our March vendor fair, which was here in this building. And we were delighted to invite Kathleen back. They introduced a whole new line of lighting for your grow. I think you're going to learn a lot today. We're going to talk about ROI. We're going to talk about technology. So we're going to start off with that. Then we have a number of other presenters tonight. But if you would, put your hands together for Kathleen Sullivan and Forever Green Indoors.
All right, can y'all hear me okay? So I know in the email that went out, they said that Neil Yorio from NASA was going to be here, and I'm really sorry because I'm not Neil Yorio. He's way smarter than me, and he probably has better legs, so I know you guys are crushed. But he's trained me well, so hopefully I can help you out a little bit with some information about lighting, and any questions afterwards, feel free to just shout them out. When I get done here, I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Kevin, who's going to run through an ROI calculator, because it's not enough to see what your opportunities are for lighting your grow. You need to know if it's going to make money for you, because who cares if it's not going to make money, right? So my name is Kathleen Sullivan, as David said. I used to be in construction law for 25 years, and in the last 5, I've been working in LED lighting. It's an LED light in my hands. I know some of you have probably seen them in your businesses and in your homes. This one's unique. We're actually giving this one away tonight. This is an LED grow light. It's a little mini version of the big giant grow light that we're promoting for cannabis. It has a spectrum that's optimized for cannabis, but you can also grow herbs under it. I've been doing that. So we have a little silver bowl over here at the table, and if you want to throw your card in there, at the end we're going to draw one and give away. It's a $70 light, and it's just a fantastic little grow light. It's 13 watts of electricity, so you don't have to plug in a 1,000 watt high pressure sodium in your house to grow your herbs. So we'll be giving that away at the end. So I'm also a member of the American Lighting Association and National Association of Women in Construction, which is kind of funny, because who would think there was a whole bunch of girls doing this stuff, but we are. Girl power. And also the Marijuana Women's Business, is it Alliance or Association, Morgan? What did we decide to call it, the new group? MJBA Women's Alliance, so I'm also involved in that too. So if you're not yet, ladies, I would suggest you join, because it's a bunch of really great people. So, can you give me the first slide, please, Pam? I don't want to drop a $70 light in front of everybody, that'd be embarrassing. All right, so one of the things that I wanted to talk with you about lighting first, a lot of you have experience in lighting and are experienced growers, so I apologize if I talk down to you at all, but some of you who aren't, I'd like to have you understand a little bit more about grow lighting and what it takes to get a successful grow. And you have to talk to your plants in their language. You can play music and stuff too, but when you're talking about lighting, you need to speak in the terms that work for lightings. A lot of times people talk about lumens, the word lumens versus par, and lumens is for us. When we buy a regular light bulb, like a 60-watt light bulb, that's about 800 lumens, and that's the brightness that we need in order to see by. But plants don't care about 800 lumens. Plants care about the photons that help them grow and the red and blue spectrum that help them grow. So they care about par, and that's measured in micromoles. So I'm going to use those two terms a lot, so I just wanted you to understand what they mean. Par and micromoles are plant language, and lumens are our eyesight language. So your measurements for this, your measurements should always be in micromoles for plants. And if you guys are talking to a salesman about lights, and they want to talk to you and they start talking about lumens, you guys need to practice the professional but disdain. You can like this, because they have no idea what they're talking about. If they're talking lumens, don't buy lights from them. They don't care whether your plants grow, because your plants don't care about lumens. They want micromoles. And if a lighting salesman doesn't understand that, then they don't understand what your goals are and what you're trying to do. So you want to grow plants. So I don't know if you can see on the bottom, but just an example about lumens and micromoles for plants. So a 600-watt high-pressure sodium lamp, which a lot of you have probably used for your grows, is going to put out 60,000 lumens. And I just told you 800 lumens was a light bulb that you can read by. So 60,000 lumens is a high-pressure sodium lamp that's 600 watts. This 390-watt LED we have over here is 15,000 lumens. So if you're talking lumens, you would think, oh, there's no way that light's going to grow anything. But micromoles, 600 micromoles to that 600-watt high-pressure sodium, 640 micromoles of par for the LED. So the LED is actually more effective at speaking plant language than that 600-watt high-pressure sodium. So you ignore that 60,000 lumens and the 15,000 lumens. It does not matter. All right, so a lot of you have already done research on your lighting sources for your indoor grows. And the most common is metal halide, so high-pressure sodium, metal halide. They're called HID lamps, and you can see that on the left. They're made up of a ballast, a light bulb, and usually a reflector to send the light back down to the plant. The newer generation is the LED light, and we have one on display over here on this rack. LED has kind of had a bad rap in growing, but we've got some information tonight that's going to prove to you that they have changed that. So metal halide and high-pressure sodium, the old ones, they were designed for parking lots and gymnasiums. That's why they have 60,000 lumens. They're trying to illuminate very large areas from a very high space. Well, those of you who have put together grows, you know that you're putting that light a lot closer than you would hang in a warehouse or a parking lot or a gymnasium. So they're the lamp, ballast, and hoods. They're usually 3 components. Very high lumen output, again, that word, but that's how those lamps are designed. They're not designed around micromoles. They're not designed around par. They're designed around lumen. They're very high maintenance. You're going to have to replace your light every 4 to 6 months because the light degrades over time. They're extremely hot. If you touch one of those lamps, you will be in the hospital. Your skin will be melting off your bones. So you think about putting in just a regular 100-watt light bulb. If you tried to touch it, you're going to burn yourself. I mean, in the old days, what do we do with the Easy Bake Oven, right? We could sort of cook with it. Those lights get hot. So these big 60,000 lumen lights are going to get really hot. And you're going to need air conditioning units to draw that heat off in your grow. And again, they're not measured in micromoles. So just a little trivia statistic for you, which you might need it when you're playing a game. If you put 36 of those high-pressure sodium light bulbs in a building, you're going to put out 12 tons of heat that you're going to have to draw off with your air conditioner. You're paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour on average in the state of Washington, anywhere between 6 cents and 12 cents in the state of Washington. So you don't need to be drawing off 12 tons with air conditioning and paying for that, because that's wasted energy. So All right, so the most common ones of the metal halide and high pressure sodium are usually 1,000 and 600 watts. That's a lot of wattage, that's a lot of lamps, it's very high energy. Again, we're paying between 6 cents and 12 cents in the state of Washington. They're very inexpensive to buy though. So a lot of us want to start out our grows with those. We can get an entire kit with all 3 pieces for between $250 and $500. So when you're first putting your grow together, a lot of times that's the first answer. Not only is it the traditional thing that's always been used, but it's the least expensive, so it makes sense on your bottom line. Running it for 12 hours daily, each one is going to use 3,650 kilowatt hours per year. So it was fine when we had all of these really small medical grows, but now that we're moving into the recreational market and we've got these tier licenses coming up, using that much energy and paying for that much energy doesn't make sense. But again, buying that inexpensive kit sometimes up front does. So you have to distribute your heat and your light. I know a lot of you who've run experienced grows, you end up with kind of a pyramid underneath those high pressure sodium lamps. The lights and the plants in the center will grow faster and taller, and the ones on the outside won't, and so you'll be shuffling your pots around so you can make sure and get a balanced grow underneath the lamps. Even with the reflectors, you still need to move things around in order to get your grow to balance. So you also have to buy some fairly expensive HVAC units to cool off that room. Eric, our grower who's running these lamps right now, said that he fired up 3 of them earlier this week and he had to turn on a heater because we're on the other side of the state and it was still pretty cold at night. He's like, I can't even believe I'm turning on lights and putting on a heater. So next slide, please, Pam. So the next generation up from that starter kit that I was talking about is a fixture that we've found. It's made in Holland, and it's actually pretty impressive. It's still the 1,000 watts and 600 watts, so you're still paying a lot of energy cost. But what they've done is they've integrated it into one fixture, and they've designed the hood and the fixture to draw the heat off. So what they're finding is that the bulb is lasting for 3 years rather than 4 to 6 months. And they still need the air conditioning units, but they cycle on and off. They don't run continuously. So again, you're still spending quite a bit of money on energy, but for people who really want that high pressure sodium light and really want to stick to the traditional sources, this is a good option. And this is mid-range between that inexpensive kit. The other one, did I say 250 to 500? This is about 625, I believe, 625 or 650. So it is a more mid-range option to still get that 1,000 watts of light, and it is better at heat distribution. So that's the next generation of the high pressure sodium for grow. It was the answer in Holland to taking it from the parking lots and the warehouses and the gymnasiums and making it an agricultural product. So next one, please. All right, so on this one, so it's 629. I was close. So running this for 12 hours a day, again, same kilowatt hours, 3,650 kilowatt hours, because you're still talking that same 1,000 watt high pressure sodium lamp. It's just going to be a little bit more efficient in terms of the air conditioning and drawing the heat off and not changing the light bulb every 4 to 6 months. It's still going to degrade over time. It's still a high pressure sodium lamp, but it's just going to take longer to degrade. So. All right. Commercial LED grow technology. There's a lot of people that mistrust LED. You know, the very first LEDs that came out, not just for growing, but in general, were those weird blue Christmas lights. You always know who bought them in the neighborhood because you're like, are they Jewish? I don't get it. They're blue. But LED has come a long way since it was introduced, and certainly come a long way for grow technology. An LED grow light, and there are a variety of manufacturers out there making them, you're going to save over 40% on energy costs putting in an LED over the other options. 2,100 kilowatt hours per year running it 12 hours daily as opposed to the over 3,000 for the high pressure sodium lamps. Most of the LEDs are wet or damp rated, so if you accidentally spray them with your misting or your hose, it's not a problem. They're not gonna fry out the way that the high pressure sodium ones will. So I know a lot of you with grow operations, you're probably really, really careful with your water around those high pressure sodium lamps because it's game over if you get those wet. So in the LEDs, what they're doing is designing the spectrum for germination and flowering so that you can have one lamp that can take you entirely through your grow from beginning to end. And like I said earlier, the spectrum in the red and the blue is optimized in order to be effective for actual grow rather than lighting up a parking lot. So they're also passively cooled. There's no fans, there's no moving parts. What this means is that the light will draw the heat off of the diode, or the heat sink will draw the heat off of the diodes in a passive manner. And what that means is those diodes are going to last a lot longer. That's why the LEDs you can buy for your house now, they're telling you they're going to last you between 5 and 10 years in your home, probably longer in a residential environment because they're not running as long. And the reason why is those heat sinks. And in that one that I showed you that we're giving away tonight, it's that fan part that runs along the outside edge, and its entire job is to keep that diode cool so it's going to last longer. This light has been lit up for hours, and you can just walk up and put your hand right on it at any time. We were here for the vendor fair, and we had it lit for 3 days, and everyone was walking up, putting their hands on it just to test. I was glad we didn't have a high-pressure sodium lamp up there to test because that wouldn't have been good. But you can touch our LED lamp anytime you want. So there's reduced maintenance costs because you are not changing any light bulbs for 10 years. It's going to last for 50,000 hours of operation. In a 12-hour, every day, 365 days a year, that's about 11 hours. There's no light degradation and there's no changing light bulbs. Now, you say they're more expensive, so what if it burns out? Well, if it burns out in the first 3 years, or if any one of the diodes, if anything happens to it, it's completely warranted. They will send you a new one, no questions asked. So this company really backs up their product with a very strong warranty. So, and again, I talked about the heat. You're not going to need those big, giant HVAC units to cool your building. As Eric found, you might need a heater. But depending on how many lights you put in, you should have a really nicely balanced grow. So I said earlier that it's just light bulbs, it's not rocket science. Well, it is rocket science. I'm sorry I couldn't bring the NASA man here who developed this light. But for this fixture, it is rocket science. This light was developed by NASA. The engineers and the plant biologists who worked there were tasked with growing plants in space. That's truly an indoor grow. And so this is the end result of that research that they did and what they developed. This plant grows. It grows beautiful plants in space or in your cannabis grow operation. Lighting Science Group, which is the company that manufactures this, they took it and they optimized it specifically for cannabis. They put the array of diodes together in such a way that, depending on the way that you hang them in your grow, it's designed for those long tables you guys like to use. So you can get a really nice sea of green grow. And in the state of Washington, we're very fortunate that the Liquor Control Board's allowing sea of green rather than per plant, because you can just pack them in there. And under this light, they will grow very healthy and very balanced. It has a very even light distribution. What the growers who have grown under it have found is that rather than growing in that pyramid shape right under the light, they're getting a nice square grow. They're not moving their plants around at all on the table. So they can leave watering techniques and nutrient techniques in place. They're not shifting pipes and tubes and moving things around at all. They're getting a nice even grow. In addition to that, what the case studies were finding, and this was a total surprise even to the people at Lighting Science Group, and Eric, who's here with us, who did our grow in Spokane, he'll attest to this, they got buds all the way down to the soil. Instead of getting those fluffy ones at the bottom that you have to pretty much throw away, they got heavy, dense buds all the way to the soil, which resulted in increased yield off this light. Every single case study that's been done in Canada, Colorado, Washington, and we're about to harvest one in California, is showing increased yield. We have not had a single failure of this light in proving increased yield. And that's the only change that was made versus the test under high pressure sodium was the light. Same nutrient, same water, everything across the board. So again, it's made in the USA, putting Americans back to work. It's not just designed here, and comes with a 3-year warranty. And it's been tested by labs, universities, and growers. So we're going to run you through the Roi Calculator and show you that increased yield and show you what that means for you financially. Because all of the numbers in the world don't matter unless you can convince your business people and the people that are financing you that this is worth it. So if you're talking with other lighting manufacturers and I've shown you the 3 different types that we can sell you, and I would hope that you would come and talk to us because we do know what we're doing. But if you talk to somebody else, first make sure they don't talk about lumens, and then ask them about case studies. Ask them to prove it. Ask them to prove that their light can grow marijuana. Because all the claims in the world and all the anecdotes in the world are not going to help you when you have gotten your license and put this entire grow in and spent all this time and effort and money. So please ask for case studies. Ask them about their science. And if they don't have the science, call us because we do. So I'll just run you through a couple case studies. Next, please. So Denver Relief in Denver, Colorado, I know a lot of you have heard of them. They're a pretty well-known consultant and grower of medical marijuana. They were gracious enough to do one of the first tests for Lighting Science Group on this lamp. They found a 6% increase in yield on their biodiesel strain and a 13% increase under the Durban poison strain. They got fairly equivalent THC levels on the biodiesel, 27% on the high-pressure sodium and 26% on the LED. On the Durban poison, they got 16.5% of the THC under the high-pressure sodium. They got 24 on the LED lamp. So for that particular strain, that strain really liked the LED. So they were very happy, and they have actually rolled out this light into the majority of their grow facilities down there in Colorado. So Strainwise is another medical marijuana facility down in Denver. I actually had the opportunity to tour Strainwise, and I was so impressed when they had plants as tall as I am, and they had buds on those plants that were the size of my hand. I took all these pictures with my hand, like going like this, to show the size of the buds. It was really incredible, and they were growing underneath the LED. They took one room, and they had a whole line of high-pressure sodiums down one side. They had 12 high-pressure sodium, 1,000 watts. And then on the other side of the room, they had 24 of these LEDs mounted down the other side, and they had the exact same strains run down both sides. They had air conditioning units at the end of the room, and they said that prior to installing these LEDs in just half the room, that the air conditioning units ran constantly. After they installed LEDs on just one side of the room, they just cycled on and off. So they were already saving energy on their air conditioning without even counting the 1,000 watt to 390 watt. So they were very happy with even just that part, but then when they harvested, they had a 24% increase in yield. And used 47% less electricity for that grow. And the THC levels and CBD levels, again, were really consistent across both types of growing. So we decided to take it a step further and figure out what that meant financially. What was the LED benefit? And in Colorado, they're getting $3,200 a pound for medical marijuana. They're getting $7,680 a pound for recreational marijuana. We're anticipating $2,000 here in Washington. But for Strainwise, that 24% increase was $22,784 if they sold it medically, and $54,682 for recreational sale. That was for 24 light fixtures. Half of a room. They made $54,000 on one grow. And that's not what they made total, that's the additional impact of the LED light. So they are rolling out the light into their facilities as well. So the next one, and we brought Eric here to show you, talk to you about it if you have questions for him afterwards. Eric from Mapeto, USA is in Spokane, and he ran the first Washington test grow. And we've got his case study over here too. He had a 27% increase in finished product yield and 47% energy savings. And all of these are lab tested. We're not guessing on the 27%. We've sent it all to Analytical 360, and we've gotten the lab reports to prove the increases. Now his active cannabinoids across those two, between high pressure sodium and LED, which is basically the combined average of all of the active cannabinoids within each strain. He had 59% on the HPS and a 63% under the LED. So he got a slight improvement under LED. But it was that 27% increase that really impressed him. He actually got a 52% increase, but we felt like we should be conservative and put 27. He had a bunch on the HPS. He had 300 grams, but 50 of them were those fluffy light ones that were fairly useless that he had to discard. But we felt that if we put 52% on our case study that you guys would laugh us out of the room. But you can ask him about how that worked. But he did find heavy, dense buds all the way to the soil. And when we were here a couple months ago at the vendor fair, he had a number of branches here with him that he had grown under this light that he was showing people. So a lot of you got to see it in person. So that was impressive. For him, that was a $540 increase per pound. In the type of harvesting and growing he does, he has it organized so that you harvest every 2 weeks, and usually each harvest is around 50 pounds. That's a $27,000 increase in every single harvest for a light fixture. No other change, no nutrient changes, no water changes, just a light fixture. So we are backed by science, and the light can prove itself to you. So you need it, you want it, you love it, but how are you going to pay for it? Because these things are not cheap. The retail price on this lamp is $1,700. We're offering a 20% discount to the MJBA members. That brings it down to about a little over $1,300, which is a lot more reasonable. There are leasing and financing options. We have a number of private investors who have approached us who are looking to help growers finance these lamps, and there are also some private financing companies that are doing the same. So please contact us if that's your only holdup, because we can connect you with the money that you need. Also, as a member of the Northwest Trade Ally Network and the Energy Star partner, we are working with every single utility in the state of Washington on rebating these lamps. And we have developed custom rebate programs with these utilities, and they're going to do it on a case-by-case basis. All of the rebate programs in the past have been designed on regular LED lamps, so we've had to design custom programs based on the specific metrics of this lamp. But they are also rebating. They do not want you to put in those 1,000-watt lamps, and they're willing to pay for part of it to prevent you from doing it. So they will help you pay for this LED lamp. And it's a very, very easy process. So we also have an HID buyback program. That first HID kit that I showed you, the one that's the inexpensive one, if you want to start with that because you need to get a couple of grows under your belt in order to upgrade to LED, we can sell you the starter kit, and then if you upgrade to LED within 6 to 12 months, then we will buy that back from you, that HID back from you. So if that's something you're interested in, please talk to us. So we have the 3 different ranges. We have got the low range 3-piece kit. We've got the one from Holland that's the mid-range that lasts longer, and then we've got the LED. So we should have whatever you need to light up your grow. And I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Sullivan, who can go through the ROI calculator so that you can see how the increased yield and energy savings is going to impact your different grows at the different levels, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Thank you.
Hello. So they say in public speaking you're always supposed to try and connect with your audience, so I just wanted to come up here tonight and admit that I'm actually a retired black market grower. My career started when I was 17 and it ended when I was 17 in the attic of my parents' house, and my parents are here tonight, so yeah, Mom and Dad, it is a gateway drug. You just didn't know that it was going to be this gateway. So anyway, I just want to talk tonight a little bit about the financial implications about using these lamps in your grow. And really, it's quite amazing. I know there are some growers in the room because we've gotten to know them over time. And I think you're going to understand why there's growers in the room when you see these numbers. So the good news is I only have 3 slides, and we're going to prove why these lamps make a lot of sense. But as Kathleen said, we'll also assist you with HID lighting if you're looking at starting out there and then moving to LED over time. So the first thing that we need to do when we're looking at an ROI calculator is establish a baseline. And so when we were here for the trade show earlier in the year, we asked the growers what their assumptions were for the yields that they would get out of their grow operations. So I'm just going to go through these really quickly, and this is going to be modeled on a 21,000 square foot Tier 3 license using 100% of your canopy area. So that's this one particular grow operation. So we have 21,000 square feet of grow, and we're going to use the lamps in the flower cycle for 12 hours a day. You can use these lamps in every cycle if you'd like to, but it's most efficient if you're using them for flower. If you can get 6 cycles per year out of your grow, you're maximizing your real estate footprint. If you don't think you can get 6 and you can only get 5, then you're giving up 1 grow cycle. But if you can push 6 grow cycles through your facility, you're going to create the most amount of revenue, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. We don't know exactly what the price per pound is going to be. I've heard everything from $1,200 to the retail market all the way on up to $2,800, and you guys are going to be establishing that, all these entrepreneurs in the room, right? And as Kathleen said, we had to make some assumptions on what the HPS lamps cost. They're so cheap, it's kind of irrelevant. This is not an inexpensive HPS kit at $370. You can actually probably get them from China for $150, but they're kind of junk. But the lamps are what's the most important, which is this bulb itself. And then the cost for the LED fixture is $1,700. So these are some of the baseline assumptions that we're working with. You won't pay that because we're offering lower pricing, and there's also utility rebates for trading in your old HID equipment. The other thing that we wanted to look at was what the assumptions are for grams per yield for HPS grams, which was 48, and then we did the same thing with the LED. Based on 123% increase, you're going to drive it up to 59. So we have this calculator put together, and we can offer it to you dynamically. If you give us a business card or write your name down on the list, give us your email address, tell us what the square footage and any of these other assumptions would be that you'd like us to give you, and we'll customize this calculator for you so you can see your own operation. Anyway, what we're looking at here in this particular example is a 1,000 watt HPS fixtures versus what is the 1,100 watt LED fixture over here. There's only one wattage to that fixture. And then 3 independent test grows, as Kathleen talked about, showed that we were getting at least 123% more yield. And that's going to become a very important number when we look at the last slide. So let's go ahead and advance the slide, please. Okay, so we're going to look at some more of our assumptions. So looking at a 21,000 square foot grow using an HPS lamp technology versus LED, you're going to need 1,300 fixtures if you're going to run your grow with HPS, and that's assuming you're using 1 lamp per 16 square feet, which is a pretty common assumption in the grow. With the LEDs, we believe that you need to have a little bit more LED coverage. It's not required. Eric, who grew to the 125% yield, was using the same 1-to-1 ratio. The manufacturer says you should use 2 in a 16 square foot space. I think they're just trying to sell us twice as many fixtures. We believe that the better number is 1.5, and it'll still make sense when we do that. So instead of 1,300 fixtures, you'd have 1,750 fixtures in your facility. So this is an important number too, and it's one that not everybody considers when you're setting up your physical infrastructure. You have to look at the amps of service you're going to install to your building. So there's a significant increase in the amps of service between these two utilities because of all the extra power you have to drive to that building. So when you're talking additional transformers, power panels, power runs, it's really 3 times as much infrastructure to drive the amps to your building for this grow under HPS. And then if you just looked at the number of kilowatt hours, which none of us really think that way, but that's what drives your power bill, 658,000 kilowatt hours per month versus 261,000. So down button there, please. Okay, so let's take a look at the capital that you have to have up front. And this is where LEDs really hurt because it's expensive. And I just want to be real clear on just how expensive it is. So the upfront costs in order to put that many HPS fixtures in is about $500,000. A similar array of LEDs is $3 million. It's a significant bite to be getting into if you're just starting your grow. And that's why we're offering options for HPS move-up programs so you don't have to go right into LED and you can trade up over time. It's a $2.5 million increase in upfront capital. And that's another reason we're offering, and well, I should say we're finding, and we're beginning to actually land commercial financing lease options if you'd like to lease these fixtures in your building. Which is actually a very good way to go. And you could do that for the HPS as well. Operating cost comparison, so total monthly cost, $80,000, about $81,000 a month, and here's where the LEDs really shine, only 26 grand a month. So that's a big number, $55,000 less per month that you're writing Puget Sound Energy or Avista. That's a huge number. And then if you take a look at your annual operating costs, and there's a little bit of information that we have collapsed here in this in terms of the light, there's going to be 2 bulb cycles. So that's all in here. So $970,000 to operate the HPS array and $313,000 to operate the LEDs. So you can see now there's starting to be a pretty big difference, but it's still not offsetting the increase in the price that you paid up front. So now if you take a look at the model that we're running here is, we think you're going to be in the business for a while. We imagine that it's probably a good idea to have a 5-year business plan. And because our fixtures last for 10, we just have that. And so we're going to do a 5-year model on how much income this business model will make. So, but over the course of that 5-year period, you're going to spend $5.2 million to operate the HPS lamps, and you're gonna spend about $4.5 million to operate that LED array. So you save about 630 grand, but you're still spent $2.5 million more. So that doesn't look so good, but we're gonna keep going. So one more click, please. So the break even right now just on capital put into your business is 48 months. That's not a real acceptable ROI if you're investing. So next slide, please. Okay, so now this is where it gets interesting, and this is where you're gonna understand why people wanna be in grow. So flower yield and revenue comparison. So again, looking back at some of the assumptions that we started with, if you are using these two technologies, you're gonna have 2,223 pounds in your grow cycle, for every grow cycle with HPS, and you're gonna get 2,700 pounds, assuming just that 25% increase in the LED. And this is where the magic really happens. Now, if you can drive to 6 cycles a year, 6 grow cycles a year instead of 3 or 4 or 5, to maximize your physical investment in real estate, then you're gonna end up with 13,339 pounds on the HPS system, 16,389. That's 3,000 more pounds that you're gonna get out of an LED system over the course of a year. And if you take a look at the annual revenue at $2,000 a pound to the retail market, that's $6 million a year that you're gonna make with a full LED array. So now it starts sounding a little bit different. If you run that over 5 years, it's a $30 million additional revenue increase. That's not $30 million total, that's additional. That's why people are getting into the grow. Next. Here's your investment efficiency. Those of you that are experienced growers know that you generally want to look at grams per watt. Typically HPS, they say it's about 0.5, 0.55, 0.56. LEDs are driving to 1.73 grams per watt because they use less power. Next. Okay, so the financial break even, and this is what's really interesting, is that when you consider the increase in revenue of $30 million over 5 years, you've reduced your ROI to 4.7 months, and that's why leasing companies want to get into this business, because there's money to be made lending to you guys who are growing, because there's money to be made in grow. The conclusion is that if you maximize your flower grow, you have the potential to have $30 million more profit over 5 years for $2.5 million of additional cost of infrastructure up front, and these numbers are absolutely accurate. I think I'm done. Is there another one? No, I'm done. All right, thank you very much. Real quick, I just want to do a little mini commercial. Forever Green Indoors, like most of you, we're a startup. We're bootstrapping the company. We're the exclusive representatives for the LSG products in the state of Washington. If you're interested in them, you can get them from us, and we'd love to work with you. Kathleen is my sister and my business partner, which would kind of explain why my parents are here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Forever Green Indoors, one of our favorite corporate sponsors. Thank you for being here. My name is Morgan, and I am the president of the Washington Marijuana Business Association, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here. We could not do it without you as our members. If you have not become a member, I encourage you to do so that you can participate with us in all of the community events and events that will promote your business, because that's what we're here for. We are here for you and for your business. And thankfully, we have several members in our organization who have been approved for their 502. And if you would like to stand up right now, we would love to introduce you as being ready to take the next step in your cannabis business. Do we have anybody here? There we go. We've got one over here. Got one over here. Very good. So the way we're going to grow this industry is by helping each other. Now is the time to start reaching out and congratulating people and, bringing other people into the fold who may be displaced because of the new rules and stuff. But we need to work together, and a great way to do that is to get involved. I had the pleasure on Friday of running a fantastic luncheon for women. The MJBA Women's Alliance is going to be a huge force in Washington State. We had over 50 women. If you could run that video, that would be great. Just a recap so that you could kind of see what happened last Friday at the Columbia Tower Club. We had over 50 women celebrating one another, encouraging one another to take the next step into our careers. And it really is true. We had a wonderful keynote speaker. Her name is Diane Goldstein. She's with the Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Fantastic, wonderful, beautiful woman, strong and encouraging. Warner there was given an award for outstanding achievement in women in cannabis. And you'll recognize Rachel, and you'll see a whole bunch of other women in the industry that we are just so honored to be working with and to be sharing the experience. Cheryl Schumann stopped in. You may recognize her from Beverly Hills Cannabis Club and Moms for Marijuana International. Just a whole bunch of fabulous women. If you are interested in joining us, there is a sign-up sheet, MJBA Women's Alliance. My girl Roxanne right there will be happy to take your name and number. We plan on doing these events on a regular basis, along with all these other meetings. This one is always the third Tuesday of every month. We'll also have a vendor fair coming up June 26th and 27th. You may have heard Kathleen mention that. It'll be here again in this wonderful location. Last time we had over 50 cannabis brands. We encourage you to participate, showcase your brand and service through a vendor table. Yeah. We also will be having on Thursday, and Dave will be talking about this a little bit later, will be cannabis and the law. We'll have several wonderful speakers, and I'll let Dave go through that. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our next business member, Bob Smart with CannaCon, who's going to come up and tell you about what's going on in his world right now. Please welcome Bob.
So how's everybody? This place is awesome tonight. I think I've been a member since the very first meeting with MJBA. Started as a business member, and today I'm actually their new corporate sponsor with CannaCon. So CannaCon is now a corporate sponsor. It's a pretty cool thing to be going on with. Basically, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what's going on with CannaCon, some of the things that we're doing there. Are any of you familiar with CannaCon yet? No, not that many. Okay. So CannaCon's I don't do this well. There we go. CannaCon's the largest cannabis expo on the planet. We've taken over the Tacoma Dome, August 14th through the 17th. And I mean, if you look around the room and you see the people that are here, if you can imagine the Tacoma Dome with all folks like you, all entrepreneurs in this new industry, all together at the Tacoma Dome for CannaCon, all meeting with each other from all over the world, and then we open it up to the public to come in and meet everybody and just really let everybody see what this new industry can be like. You know, we're just really, more than anything, want to change the image of this whole industry. And I think that's going to be one of the very best things we could possibly do. You know, we've got, how many of you know Cisco Morris, Gardening with Cisco? Okay, would you ever think Cisco would come to a cannabis convention and speak? Okay, he's there, he will be there. I think everybody always thought Cisco was probably pretty high. He's not. One of his first things, he didn't want to talk about cannabis, but he wanted to be part of the new industry. So that's pretty cool. You know, and we've got a lot of speakers like that coming. You know, some different kind of folks that have been in a lot of the festivals and things that we've always seen before. So it's going to be a very cool event. We hope to see everybody there. I would like to announce, it's gotten so big. I mean, we've got national press, worldwide press. I can't handle it all like I thought I could at the beginning. So I have a new event planner. He's my executive director of special events, and that is the owner and founder of Earful Events. And I'd like to introduce him now. That would be Jeremy Cooper.
Well, I have a secret identity that a lot of people in the cannabis industry don't know. And my previous life, prior to the cannabis life, was I was an award-winning event planner, and I have planned events for BMW International, IMG Racing, several movie companies, as well as Disney, and I was a former Disney Imagineer in downtown Disney, specializing in the Force, because I was a Jedi once. And I got to do all the Star Wars stuff. So if you haven't realized, I am a nerd and recently was labeled as a Canon nerd, which I'm happy about. And I have been wonderfully involved in CannaCon. And I have a wonderful team that's stepping up to be part of the amazing adventure that will be CannaCon. We have so many things lined up. We are turning this into an opportunity to involve yourself in a professional business environment dedicated to the cannabis industry. And that's not just smoking. That's not just the medication. I'm also talking about high-end fashion. I'm talking about the art of cannabis, the new technology that is coming to be, and as well, the science behind cannabis. As a matter of fact, my staff are so excited about it, they started rewriting the song Weird Science and call it Canna Science, and they've also called it Weed Science and a ton of other things. And tonight, we want to invite all of you as well, and I'm going to keep this real short. We want to invite you to talk to us about your cannabis business. We want to know who you are. And we want to know where you want to evolve in the cannabis industry so we can develop the most amazing events you've ever seen. I have won Architectural Digest Awards. I've been featured in Bridal Magazine. I used to be known as the Wedding Ranger. When I was in the military, I had a group of people that followed me around from my military unit and decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to be wedding planners. And doesn't that sound right? So we're going to get in all military gear and we're going to go plan weddings. And then all of a sudden it caught on because we thought of everything you could possibly imagine. And that's what we're doing with CannaCon. We're thinking about everything that you can imagine that could be the evolution of cannabis business. I'm talking about the plastics industry. I'm talking about textiles. I'm talking about construction. Everything that you could imagine that has to do with cannabis and hemp and the politics and the social movement that is the future of cannabis. And the people in this room, I know, are dedicated to that because everybody who's sitting in this room believes in the future of cannabis. How many of you believe that we can create a new world, a new economy, and the ability to create a future in cannabis? Raise your hand. Give yourselves a round of applause because you people are the next Bill Gates. You are the next investors in the future that is tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming to Magical Butter Studios. I look forward to speaking to you all. Our sales team is here to talk to you. And we will have wine service, and I'm going to throw back on my chef jacket here in a few minutes. And I'm going to whip you up a little something as well. We're going to do a nice little buffalo mozzarella briccata over there. Got some fresh breads from some local markets, toasted up with a little wine, and show you what the elegance of cannabis can be. Thank you for joining us here at Magical Butter Studios, and I hope you participate in CannaCon.
You know, we've been working with Jeremy and Magical Butter for, 8, 9 months, something like that, since the very beginning. And each time I come here, I learn another little secret about his CV. Who'd have thought he was an Imagineer? I knew he was in the military, I knew he was a chef, I knew he was an event guy, but an Imagineer, I never knew. Who'd have known? Anyway, so we're about to wrap this up. As Morgan said, we've had a busy week. So on Friday, we had the first Women's Alliance at the Columbia Tower Club, the highest spot in downtown Seattle, and 50 women came to join together and talk about the future of cannabis industry. That was really exciting. The Women's Alliance will be doing a series of meetings, luncheons, that kind of thing, so stay tuned for that. I want to tell you a little bit about what we've got going on Thursday of this week. 2 days from now, on the 22nd, we are taking over the Westin Seattle, downtown. We have a full-day event called Canna Business in the Law. It's sponsored by Canna Law Group. Hillary Bricken, Marijuana Attorney of the Year, will be our hostess. The MC, the Master of Ceremonies, is our very own Al Olson from CNBC. We've got a whole host of luminaries. Pete Holmes, Seattle City Attorney Pete Holmes, will be delivering our luncheon keynote. We're honored to have Washington Liquor Control Board member Chris Marr will be speaking at our keynote speech. We have, and I think this is the first time perhaps ever at a cannabis convention, a representative of Salal Credit Union will be speaking. The chief lending officer of a credit union will be speaking to a cannabis business convention about lending guidelines for 502 licensees. That, ladies and gentlemen, is history. History. So I encourage you all to come out. If you want some more information, we've got 5 panels. They're populated by really the leading lights in both law, accounting, professional services, as well as we've got Redmond's lottery winner number 1, Jenny Carbon. I almost got her name wrong. Jenny Carbon will be attending a panel. We are really going to drill down on the specifics. So these kinds of meetings that we do every month at the Meetup are general presentations. We encourage members to stand up and kind of raise the awareness. But since we're so close to launch, right, we're literally 6 weeks or so away from the first retail stores opening, we felt like it was imperative that we all get together in one room and have the opportunity to talk to members of government, to talk to the Liquor Control Board, to talk to lawyers, to talk to accountants, to talk to folks about intellectual property, about branding, about zoning, about real estate, about your money, right? I don't know that there's anywhere else you can go at this point in time to get those kinds of resources. So it was quite an investment for us to upgrade to this room. We spent a lot of money. We're videotaping the whole thing. So if you're not able to come, there will be some video available, but we really do encourage you to come out. No matter what stage your business is in, we can use your expertise, we can use your questions, and we've really been encouraged by how everyone has come from the Liquor Control Board, from the state and local government to say, hey, we're willing to outreach to the community. So please, if you would, if you want to do more of these things, come out and support us on Thursday. A month from Thursday, a month from the legal seminar on June 22nd, we'll be doing the exact same thing for technology. We'll have BioTrack THC, we'll have CoreAware, we'll have a number of POS, of security, of hardware, of software, all the tech issues you may have. Forever Green Indoor will be there. So all of the kinds of general information you're getting at our vendor fair or you're getting at these meetings, these seminars are designed for you to come in and talk about your business, to talk about your specific questions, and to make the contacts and get the information you need to be successful. So thank you in advance for your support. We're going to be hanging around. We have wine, we have food, we have a lot of stuff. Please hang out and network, talk to folks. If you're interested in the event, if you're interested in the Women's Alliance, if you're interested in getting up here and talking to your peers, come see myself, come see Morgan, and thank you again for coming out tonight. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know wine service is going to begin at the Magical Butter booth over there at the Magical Butter Studio set. Feel free to come on over. We have all different types of wine service. I'm going to throw on a chef jacket as well. If you'd like to talk about CanaCon, we'd love to talk to you as well if you're interested in a booth. The great thing about talking to us today as well is going to be we are doing a special on the booth today. If you want to talk to us about that, we're going to be offering that up in our VIP area. We're going to be opening that area in just a couple of moments. Come and see us over here at the Magical Butter booth. The wine glasses are being poured. Please enjoy it. Thank you for coming to Magical Butter Studios.